Welcome to our city staff meeting. I know most of y'all probably don't know what we do. I'll give you a little bit of an explanation. First of all, my name is Larry Graves, and I'm the city manager here in Seagoville. What we do is every Tuesday at 8:30 we have a staff meeting. And it's normally just the directors and the chiefs, and we of course talk about everything that's going on. Well, once a month, on the second Tuesday of each month, we have what's called a city staff meeting. And what we do then is we open it up to the residents to come to our staff meeting. Normally we have it in the council chambers at City Hall. And so they're able to come to that staff meeting here, everything that we talk about, and ask questions at the end about anything that they may have questions that they may have. So we decided, or I decided, that from time to time we would take our city staff meeting on the road. And so today we're over at Senior Center. Next month we'll be back at City Hall, and maybe the following month after that we'll be goes somewhere else, who knows. But we just thought it'd be interesting if we took this on the road. So we have a lot of fun with it, so sit back and enjoy. You'll find out all sorts of information about everything that's going on in the city. We have nothing to hide, everything we do is transparent. But I do have some rules I do need to read so that you'll understand what we will say and what we will not say. These are things that I've come up with over the years doing these things. Some of you may find them a little comical, but you'll understand why we don't do it in this setting. First of all, we don't talk about any personnel. So if you have any questions about any personnel, that's something that's discussed in my office with the door closed. We don't do that in the city staff meeting. Also, we don't talk about any litigation. If there's any lawsuits involved with the city or anything, we don't talk about that in an open forum. Obviously, it's not something that we do. Also, this is something that most people find a little interesting. We don't take any comments about the mayor and city council. If you've got an issue with the mayor and city council, you need to take it up with them, because I work with them, they don't work with me, so if you've got issues with anything, you need to take it up with them. We also don't really want to talk about any comments about upcoming council action, because that's something that you really need to tell the city council about if you've got any concerns or anything. It's something that they really need to hear. We also don't have any kind of discussion about if you've got any kind of a moving violation, any kind of a ticket. We don't discuss that, because that's something you can take up with the judge. Because I'm not the judge, and we don't get into that either. And also, I've had to add one last thing, as you probably have noticed, that we are filming this. And so you need to know that everything that you say or do today, and everything that we say and do, is being filmed. It will be on the web. Jim will have it uploaded, or what you say. Is that good? That's good. Okay, uploaded either this afternoon or tomorrow, so everybody in the city will be able to see our city staff meeting. We had a lot of hits last month when we did that, so just so you'll know that this will be out there on the web, so that anything you say or do will be captured forever. All right, let's get started. First thing that we do in our staff meetings is that we have employee recognition. Anybody have any employee recognition? Hearing none, we'll move on. And the next thing that I do is the dates to remember for everybody. Monday, August the 19th, next Monday, we have a council meeting. And then Monday, September the 2nd is Labor Day holiday. Like I said, because the city hall will be closed. And then Monday, September the 9th is another council meeting. There's some things that normally at this point we would start the updates. And that's what I've been doing, because I got beat up certain times from the staff because I would say things that they were going to talk about. So I changed that. But there's some things that I feel like probably you want to know. So I felt like I'd go ahead and cover those, because these are bigger ticket items, so that you would be aware of them before we get to the updates. Number one is the senior center, and all the senior activities is funded. It's in our budget, and we're working on our budget right now. The 2013-2014 budget will be approved on September the 16th. Tax rate and everything will be set. We have couple of public hearings, another budget workshop, and things that will go on in between now and September the 16th. But I wanted you to know, because I've heard those comments about if we were going to fund the senior center. Well, absolutely we are. It's funded absolutely, and everything that was asked for is in there. I mean, I didn't even cut anything out of there. So it's funded, just so you would know that. Also, the biggest thing that we get hit with is the streets. When are we going to repair the streets? Well, we've had engineers, look at our streets and give us an estimate about how much money it would cost to repair all the streets in town. It's to the tune of about $35 million. Now, needless to say, we don't have $35 million just laying around. I wish we did, but we don't. So the only way that we can handle that would be through some sort of a bond program. And the council has discussed that. Right now, they feel like that it's not a good time for us to do that because it will raise the debt side of our tax rate quite a bit. And so, they're waiting for the evaluations to go up a little bit. We're waiting for more businesses to move into town, waiting for a couple more of those things to happen before they would look at doing a bond program. Obviously, if we do a bond program, the residents will vote on it. So you'll know exactly how that bond program will affect the tax rates. Now, if you're over 65, it doesn't affect your tax rate at all. But just so you'll know that we're not running away from this issue. It's obvious when you drive on any of our streets, what kind of condition they're in. We're all aware of it. The council is very, very aware of it. I am, staff, everybody knows it. There is a little project that we're fixing to do, and Jim will probably cover a little bit more than he's fixing to get mad at me. I won't get into it. I'll let him talk about it. But there's a project that we are fixing to do. In fact, there are two big projects we're fixing to do that he'll cover. One of them's a street project, one of them's a water tower project. But these are things that we feel like we need to get done right now. And just so you'll know, that we are totally aware of these issues. This is not something that we're hiding from or running from or anything. The council's aware, I'm aware, we talk about it all the time. It's just how we're going to deal with it. And whenever we do deal with it, it's going to affect the residents and what they have to pay. Because it isn't cheap and it isn't free. So just so you'll know, I just wanted you to know about those things. The third thing I wanted you to know is about the mosquitoes and West Nile. All of our traps so far have come in negative. None of our traps have shown any West Nile in Cityville, so therefore there's been no spraying or anything going on. So just so you know, they check those all the time. Our code enforcement gets the emails from Dallas County, and we're watching them like a hawk. And if anything comes up, anything comes back positive or something, then we'll put it into motion, spraying. Right now that isn't happening. So that's a good thing. Last year, remember basically the epidemic that was going on. In fact, they even got into aerial spraying and everything. So for this year, knock on wood, knock on it, that we're not into that. So hopefully we will not get into that. So those three things I want to make sure you knew, and I want to make sure you heard that from me as to what was going on there, so you're comfortable that we are funding the senior centers. Like I said, I heard that, and I don't know where that got started, but trust me, that is not anything that has come from the city manager, not anything the council has ever said. So whoever started that, it's not so. And then the streets, again, we can talk about that till we're blue in the face, until we actually get a bond program. It isn't going to be, you don't repair $35 million worth of streets out of your operating budget. That just doesn't happen. In fact, our operating budget is not even remotely close to that amount, counting everything, funding police, fire, and everything else. So it just doesn't have, no city does that. Now, of course, Dallas, they have bigger maintenance budgets in their operating budget. We do. But to major street repair, that's all bond stuff. So we will be looking at that. So moving on, we'll start the updates, and I don't know how we're going to do this with this thing right here. Move it too much. What? Okay. So we're just going to let everybody just talk about this thing right here. We're starting to cut out. I certainly don't want to see me or anything. The microphone banging. Yeah, if you can't hear, we'll start I don't know what we'll do. But anyway, we'll start on that end with Chris. They'll introduce themselves, tell you what they do, and we'll work our way all the way around.
Yes, my name is Chris Caballero. I'm facilities maintenance for the city. I take care of everything from janitorial to any building maintenance issues. Sometimes I help out over here, sometimes at the animal shelter, sometimes at the police department. Wherever I'm needed is where I'm going to be. It's nice to meet y'all.
I'm April Sylvester, you all know me, I think. I am the director here at the city of facilities day. We do a wide variety of things. We serve lunches every day, 11:30. It's through the Meals on Wheels program for VNA. So every senior citizen who comes here gets one nutritious meal a day at least. No matter what else happens the rest of the day, we'll make sure they get one very nutritious meal. We have entertainment. We have card games, we have puzzles, we have ceramics, we have all kinds of activities, and we do outings for our seniors. We have some wonderful seniors here that, as you can see.
Ray Cowley, captain of the police department. I'm over all of the patrol and operations division, which consists of all of our patrol sergeants, patrol officers, accident investigation team, traffic officer, animal control, do all the scheduling for patrol division, and any other functions that need to come along, or that come along, need to get taken care of by either do it or delegate that to somebody who can do it. Glad to be here this morning, and thank y'all very much.
My name is Marty Anderson. I work with the City of Cedarville Police Department, and I am a support services technician. And then I do take the minutes every week at the staff meetings.
Get up, fat boy.
I'm Pat Stallings, I'm your police chief for the city of Cedarville, and I think the city manager's asked us to speak with the police department here a little bit, so I'll just defer that until that time comes.
I'm Tommy Lamont, I'm the fire chief here in Cedarville. We have been on our Swiftwater training this last week, and he's going to pass you out some pictures. They're kind of hard, they're not real hard to see, but what it is, we found the location down around Ennis, Texas, on the Trinity River, and this is a beautiful area if you'll look at those pictures here, and we're going to do all of our Swiftwater training down there in conjunction with Garland Fire Department, Moss Springs Fire Department, and Forney Fire Department. And these are just a few pictures you can look at, and I'll pass them around here for y'all. Yes, sir.
Is that down around 79, River Crossing?
Sir, I didn't go down there. My guys went with the Garland and Forney and Moss Springs people. They mentioned 79, but I don't know exactly where.
Well, that's where it's at then. Because that's the only place between the river crosses on the highway.
There's a rancher down there that allowed us to come on to his
That's right.
property and
That's right.
use it. So
Sure is. I was raised down there in that area, right
it's-
there on that river.
It's a very beautiful area, and we're getting some very good training out of it there. For the first 7 months, the fire department has run 1,550 calls for service as EMS and fire calls. And that's averaging about 8 calls a day, which is a lot for a small town fire. We also are doing maintenance on our fire hydrants. But due to the heat, we've been we're a little behind on completing it. We should be through probably by the end of this month on those. And that's pretty well it for me.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right there at
I want
79.
to get close to you all because my voice doesn't carry real well. I have kind of a soft voice. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Patrick Harvey. I'm Director of Finance. Basically what that means is that my people and I account for every dollar that goes in and every dollar that goes out, including what goes on around here. We take care of all of that. One of the things we do is, as the city manager mentioned, we prepare the budget. We work with the auditors. We have an audit done every year of the city books, a clean audit, by the way. I want you all to know that. We also do the budget, as I said earlier, and we do a lot of things to help support all of these departments that you all see here. So if you all have any questions about the budget or the finances or where the money goes, then give us a call and we'll be glad to explain it to you. Thank you.
I'm Gladys Moore, building official with the city of Seagoville. Just to let you know, the Ace Hardware project has been done. Rating is approximately 75% complete. The weather pending, the underground utilities will be put in at Ace Hardware probably starting next week. So that's a good thing. We've had 6 new house permits since last month. The code reviews, we're adopting new ordinance codes for the city, and they're probably 80% complete, and we'll probably be picking that in September for adoption. That's all I have. Thank y'all for listening.
I'm Josh Crabtree. I'm the city secretary, and I'm responsible for maintaining the official records for the city and preparing the agenda for upcoming city council meetings. Our next city council meeting is on the 19th, and a couple of items that we have on the agenda is the interlocal agreement for emergency 911 system equipment, the awarded bid for the Kane Street Water Tower rehabilitation, and the first of 2 public hearings for the proposed property tax increase. And there will be a budget workshop on Saturday, August the 24th, and then another budget hearing public hearing on the 9th of September with the adoption of the tax rate and the budget on September the 16th.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Brown. I'm the Director of Human Resources and the Risk Manager for the City of Seagoville. I do the personnel policies, so to speak, the advertising for all of our positions here in the city, all the benefits, and the insurance information for all the city staff, including over here. So thank you for having us here this morning.
I'm Jim Berman. I'm the Public Works Director for the city. I'm over customer service, the water department, sewer department, sanitation, parks, streets. We've been very busy this summer. Every time it gets really hot and the ground starts to dry out, it twists our water lines, and we have a lot of water main breaks. If you turned on the news this morning, you saw Grand Prairie's got a serious problem this morning. Fortunately for us, we don't get to that point. But we have had 27 leaks this month, and 9 of them have been mains. So occasionally your water may have been turned off at some point this month, so we can fix those mains. But we try to keep that downtime to a minimum. So we've already got it dug up and ready to go before we ever shut that water off. On the street side, we are going to start a reconstruction project of Farmers Road from Hall to Simons, and then Simons Road from Farmers to Seagoville Road. That's supposed to get underway before the end of this month, if not the beginning of next month. The county is actually doing that project, but they have some other projects that they're trying to complete before they start that one. We do have a street dance next month. on the September 21st. We'll start getting the advertisement out for that, but keep looking for that, and we look forward to having you out there. And I appreciate you letting me come out here and speak to you today. Did you have a question?
Yes, sir, I just wanted to ask you, on the water, well, how often, like I fill up my coffee pot, usually it's real slow leaking. By the time I get it into the coffee pot, then it's not clear out, so I don't know what that causes and stuff is.
It's probably just air in the line, it's air bubbles. If it's clearing up before you get it in there, it's just air bubbles.
Good morning, I'm Liz Gant. I'm the Director of Library Services. I also provide administrative support for April as Director of the Senior Center. I coordinate the City Hall side of information, technology, and communications, and the staff liaison for Keep Seagoville Beautiful. We have a couple annual events, Arbor Day and a trash off in the spring. Right now, we're working on asking Encore for a grant to help us with our tree lighting ceremony that will happen in December down at Central Park. And I would like to invite all of you to visit your library and take advantage of large print books and books on tape that we have, and really anything there, but particularly those that may, serve you if you're struggling with your vision. So, thank you for having us.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name's Steve Davis. I'm a sergeant with the Seagoville Police Department. My current assignment is I'm the supervisor over the criminal investigation section with all detectives. Like Chief Stallings said, later on I guess we're going to talk about our specific assignments, but I just want to introduce myself.
I'm Carl Bailey. I'm a patrol supervisor, and I'm also over the animal services. I manage the shelter and the animal services operation. So if you have dog complaints, I'll try and handle it on that.
We do.
I'm Christine Dykes. I'm the support services manager for the police department. I supervise dispatch, records, and over the jail and the technology part. We have a few employees. One dispatcher works per shift, so they get very busy. From last year to this year in July, we've gone up 10% on our 911 calls. So for the July, we received approximately 1,700 911 calls alone, just for the month of July. So for the size of our city, that's quite a bit. We dispatch for fire, police, and EMS. We have a private ambulance service that we use, which is TLC, and we forward all the calls to them as far as the medical calls. We also, in records, do open records requests when people want their accident reports and any type of incident report they were broken into or something like that with their insurance companies. We also handle the jail as far as the prisoners coming in and out. We also teach, help instruct one of the classes that the CPA puts on for us. They volunteer their time with our department, which is wonderful. A few of you are here, and we appreciate that very much. That's it.
What I want to do now is introduce some of the staff members from the police department. Captain Ray Calverley, Sergeant Carl Bailey, Sergeant Steve Davis, Support Services Manager Christine Dykes, and Marty Anderson. Marty kind of underplayed all of her duties. She keeps up with budget items, purchases, and things for the police department. May not sound like we do a lot in that respect, but she does a lot of work. It is a full-time, 8-hour-a-day job and more. So I'm very proud to have these staff members aboard with us. First thing I wanted to talk about, then I'm going to defer back to the captain and the sergeants and managers. Your department, Seagoville Police Department, last year in 2012 had 655 Part 1 offenses. Yes, what's a Part 1 offense? A Part 1 offense is a designated offense by the FBI of murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, car theft, burglary, and arson. We had 655 total Part 1 crimes. So you may ask now, how does Seagoville stack up against the other departments in the other cities in the area? Well, Addison, Texas, who has 13,523 residents, had 927 Part 1 offenses. So we're a little lower than that. Lancaster, Texas had 1,667 Part 1 offenses. Mesquite had 6,727 Part 1 offenses. And our neighbor real close to us, Balch Springs, had 1,559 Part 1 offenses. So when you look at the total offenses for the city of Seagoville, 655 is unacceptable, but it's a lot lower than some of our neighboring cities. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is the number of calls for service. The Seagoville Police Department responds to roughly 14 to 15,000 calls for service a year, which is a lot of calls. Now, when you say, well, that is a lot of calls for the police department. The thing is, what we have done in the police department, and I'll brag about that a little bit, is we have not reduced the types of calls that we respond to. Some agencies have, because they're so busy, have limited some of the calls that they respond to. But some agencies won't respond to a minor accident call. Some agencies won't respond to a theft call unless it's over $50. We still do that. Shoplifter in custody at a store here in town, we're going to respond and more than likely arrest them. And some agencies, because they're so large and have so many cases going on, they can't do that. So far, we're still able to do that. Our response time right now, and this is accurate up to date through July, it's going to take us 6 minutes and 11 seconds to get to you on a priority 1 call. You ask, what's a priority 1 call? That's a code 3 call for service. Somebody's got somebody down, beating them, or you've got somebody trying to kick in your door. It's going to take us around 6 minutes to get there. Now the next question is, why so long? That time includes your time with dispatch. That includes the time that you pick up the phone, the minute it rings in the dispatch center, to the time an officer arrives at your front door. So it's going to take some time while you're explaining to the dispatcher what's going on for us to get en route. And that's the amount of time. It's well under the national average, which I believe is around 8 minutes. So we're in pretty good shape on that. So far to date, we've had, I hate to even mention this because it's Murphy's Law here, we've had 0 homicides, 0 forcible rapes. We've had 3 robberies compared to 2 last year. We've had 2 aggravated assaults where people have been hurt during an assault severely. We've had 94 burglaries, which is up considerably. We had, back in June and July, we had a big burglary increase. And a lot of that, I'm going to leave to Sergeant Davis to explain. A lot of that came from a group out of Fort Worth and another group out of Dallas that are just terrorizing the whole state of Texas. And I'll let him, I'm not going to steal his thunder on that. We've had 245 thefts compared to 233 last year. Our auto theft is down. We've had 44 auto thefts this year compared to 48 last year. So that's down a little bit, down 8%. And we've had 1 arson case. And Fire Marshal Barr is working on that. On our accidents, one of the other things that we've done, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office a couple of years ago came to us and said they were going to charge the city of Seagoville around $35,000 to $40,000 a year to work accidents for us, which we used to have them work the accidents out here on the freeway for free. They worked and don't pay Dallas County taxes, so they would come in and work our accidents for us. Well, due to budget issues at the county level, they decided they needed to charge us for that. So what we did, instead of paying that money, we certified about 8 of our officers in accident investigation. So we have people that, in our organization, we have officers that are certified from the intermediate to the advanced, and we have 1 reconstructionist in the department. You ask, what's a reconstructionist? That's a person that can look at an accident, look at the measurements, and totally reconstruct that accident. It is a lot of training, a huge amount of training. I'm hoping he stays employed with us because reconstructionists are sought after highly, and they are hired by the Ford automakers, the Chevrolets, the GMACs, and all those people, and the insurance companies to reconstruct accidents for liability purposes. But we have 1 on staff here, and we're very happy and blessed to have that person. We've had 1 fatality accident. We've had 36 non-injury accidents, 66 total, and we've had 29 accidents with injuries. In the department, you'll notice that we're not known as a speed trap in Seagoville, and we probably write fewer tickets than most agencies. We do a lot of warnings. We issue our fair share of citations, but our citations in Seagoville run around 2,000 a year total. That's for the whole city. And so far to date, this year, we've issued 851 citations, and 670 of them are moving, 668 of them are non-moving. We've made 21 felony arrests, 81 misdemeanor arrests, 19 are alcohol-related, 6 DWIs, 13 public intoxication, arrested 9 juveniles. So we've arrested a total of 346 people this year. We average between 600 and 800 arrests a year over a 5-year period of time. So that's pretty much normal. Again, our calls for service are actually down this year, which is a blessing. The types of calls, like I say, the burglary increase that we had there in those 2 months was pretty telling for us. But alone in July, we responded to 1,227 calls. That's just in 1 month, and a total of 7,769. Last year at the same time, we had 8,140. If you call the police and it's not an emergency, it's going to take us roughly 10 minutes to get to you. So if you call and say, hey, someone stole my pot plant last week, it may take us, believe it or not, we get those calls, it's going to take us roughly on average 10 minutes to get there. Now there's going to be some times when we're totally tied up, where we've got a major accident up on the highway, or we've got a couple of disturbances working, and you may say, well, I've heard it takes longer. There are going to be those times. It's going to take 10, 15, 20 minutes, even up to an hour to get to you, depending on the call load, but that's on average. Some good news and some things I want to tell you about the department that I think are really good, and I hope you agree. We are an accredited police department through the Texas Police Chiefs Association. We started the accreditation procedure about 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. And you ask, what is accreditation? What does that mean? That means that we have 169 of the best practices known in law enforcement in the state of Texas that we've been certified on by outside evaluators. And our policies have been put in place that meet those standards. We've had outside agencies, chiefs from outside departments come in, look at our agency, go through all of our policies and procedures, interview our employees, look at how we operate, and from the jail to patrol to traffic to CID to purchasing, everything we do meets the best standards program, so we are an accredited agency. Every 4 years we have to go through the accreditation process in order to keep that. And one of the things is, well, so what? So what, you're accredited. There are only, right now, I believe, 82 departments in the state of Texas that are accredited through the Texas Police Chiefs Best Practices Program. The neat thing about that is there's 2,650 police departments in the state of Texas, and of that, 82 of us are accredited. So that's a big deal. Some of the agencies around here that are accredited are Cedar Hill, Ball Springs, Mesquite. We've got Waxahachie. There are a lot of the larger departments that are also accredited. And the other thing you may ask is how many police officers do you have on the department? We're authorized right now 1 chief, 5 sergeants, 1 captain, and 16 police officers. 17 if you count the police officer, Brenda, who is assigned to animal control. That's another thing. We've taken over the animal control function, which I'll let Sergeant Bailey talk to you about that. And with that, I'm gonna sit back down and let Captain Calverley start up with the Patrol Operations Bureau. Then I'll come back if you have any questions. Be happy to answer them.
Like Chief Strong said, I'm over the Patrol and Operations Division. Patrol consists of 4 shift sergeants, 4 shifts. A days, A nights, B days, B nights. Have a sergeant for each one of those shifts. Each shift consists of anywhere from 2 to 3 line officers on each shift. Sergeants are responsible for their line officers, not responsible for what the sergeants are doing out there. We also have our traffic division, which consists of 1 officer. And our accident investigation division, which consists of 1 sergeant and 6 officers in various shifts. Most of our shifts, actually all of our shifts, have at least 1 accident investigation officer on there. Set them over, ultimately over to the Animal Services Department, which Sergeant Bailey heads that up. Does an excellent job of that. It sounds like we do a lot. We also have people in line in place that help us out and help us get our jobs done. Each of our sergeants, not only do they do their, not only the supervisor over their shift, but they have other obligations and duties that they do too. We have a sergeant who is over all of our vehicle maintenance and oversees to make sure all of our cars are up and running, repaired when they need to be done. Sergeant who does puts together all of our review boards for hiring. He's over our field training program. Make sure that our new officers know what they're doing out there and they're getting the best training that they can possibly get. We also have the crossing guards, the schools that are under us. Work with them and make sure they're trained and know what to do to keep the children safe across the streets. And on the day-to-day operation, I keep up with, do all the scheduling for the patrol division, which sometimes can be pretty tasky. You have to make sure that you have all your shifts covered. We have a minimum of 3 officers per shift, and go below that. Sometimes with days off requests and stuff like that, training, we have to shuffle things around to make sure everything works and is staffed the way it needs to be. I do a lot of reports. When we have a use of force incident, could be somebody getting handcuffed and then set free. That's considered a use of force. Whenever these type of things happen, the officers fill out the form that tells me a little bit what happened. I review the report, review the video from their car, and then submit a report to the chief of police with regards to what took place. We'll have on average throughout the calendar year about 35 use of force report incidents. That's actually pretty good. 35 incidents throughout a calendar year is not bad. Now, whenever we're involved in a vehicle pursuit, I like to talk about those. There's also a report that I generate that goes along with that. The officer generates their report that of what took place, and I review their report, their video, and submit a report to the chief of police, all the details of what took place, and what the outcome was. Anytime we have a vehicle accident, we drive all the time. There's going to be accidents are going to happen. Anytime that happens, I do what's called an administrative review. We look at what's taking place. Could it be prevented? It goes to me, and it goes to board, accident review board, which our sergeants heads up. And their findings will come back to me, and I'll complete a detailed report and get that to the chief of police and find disposition. Same thing with the internal affairs incidents. We have very, very few of those. Thankfully, we have a lot of good officers out there that take their job very seriously and very professional in their conduct. And thankfully, we don't have that many internal affairs situations, but when they do come along, normally I'm the one who's assigned to look into those and investigate it and bring my findings to the chief of police for final disposition. Outside of that, there's a few biannual and annual reports that we do, that I have to do for the accreditation program that are required every 6 months or every year. And I have each one of those things marked on my calendar so I don't forget them. It's not getting any better. But get those reports to the chief of police every year so that we stay in good graces with the accreditation program. Not that just because we got accredited, we're still being looked at by y'all. And we're going to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing when we're supposed to do. And outside of that, extend them out. Sergeant Davis.
Hey, first of all, you might ask, I look like I'm 20 years old.
Teenager.
Actually, I started with the Seagull Police Department 1 month and 1 day after my 24th birthday, and I'm fixing to be 40 next month. So I think that puts me about 16 years almost. Anyway, what I do, I'm the liaison with the state licensing agency over the training. Over the training coordinator. It's a state liaison with the state licensing commission that gives us our peace officer license. And the next, my most important job is I'm the supervisor over the criminal investigation section. I have 2 detectives and myself. And everybody knows what we do because there's a show on every night about what we do. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So if you have, like the chief said, a flower pot missing, chances are we're not going to solve that case. We don't have anything to go on. But if we have any kind of evidence, whether it be biological evidence, video evidence, DNA evidence, we're going to work that until we get an end result. We've cleared several robberies, burglaries with DNA evidence, but you'll ask, there's DNA evidence all over the place, but physically we can't afford to do those tests because it costs a lot, and it's a lot of money to do the DNA test. Fortunately, we have an agreement with the Texas State Lab, and they do those for us, but we have guidelines, so we can't, if somebody breaks into your house, just a normal burglary, we really can't submit DNA to the crime lab. We have to wait if it's aggravated offenses. Like the chief said, we've had a lot of burglaries lately. Those are out of Fort Worth, and we know that because in these smash and grab burglaries, we call them, we've had a lot of lottery tickets taken. Those lottery tickets we contract with the Texas Lottery Commission, and they're all cast in the Stop 6 area of Fort Worth, which is southeast Fort Worth. And from there, we've been able to see that they've stretched from Fort Worth to Amarillo, to Austin, down as far east as Gun Barrel City. And really, I could go on and talk to you about what all we do, but it's probably boring. If you have any questions, I'll take it. If not,
You're a very fat animal. You're a very fat animal. Oh,
Again, I'm Sergeant Carl Bailey, and I am a patrol supervisor, but I'm also over the animal services, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. A couple of years ago, the chief decided, because I'm the dog lover, that I should run animal services. So we took it over, and the city embraced the no-kill idea of running an animal shelter. So if the animal is healthy and adoptable, unlike most shelters, municipal shelters, we don't just automatically kill those animals after 3 days. We try to get them adopted out. And that's been a pretty successful program. The first year we achieved 97% live release. The next year it was 98%, and we're on target for that again this year. On average, we take in between 700 to 800 animals a year. The majority of those are dogs, about 500, about 200 cats. And we have a volunteer program with about 39 volunteers right now that log over 2,500 hours a year taking the animals to adoption events here in town, or Mesquite, Forney, Terrell, Dallas, anywhere that we can go to take them to get them adopted. But of those 700 to 800 animals, we have one animal control officer that picks up the animals, and I help her out when the calls get back up. And our shelter attendant, Justin, cleans and feeds and takes care of the animals down there. But our volunteers take care of the medicals, because a lot of dogs come in, they're sick or injured. And we've had dogs that come in where we had to amputate their legs, but we saved the animal, and in turn got those animals adopted out after they were healed up. And we also operate a program with our local high school here. They have an agricultural program with a veterinary science program. So if the kids stay in that veterinary science program for the 4 years, they can go out and be a veterinary technician after they pass their state tests. So that helps. And so far this year, we've had dog adoptions. We've had 399 dog adoptions, 16 rescue organizations and pulled dogs. We returned 54 animals to their owners, and that we offer microchipping, and that's the easiest way if you have a dog or a cat. If your animal gets loose and we end up picking it up or it ends up at a veterinary clinic, they can scan the animal. That microchip has a number. We call the manufacturer of the chip, and they have a record of who owns the dog, and your address and your phone number, so we can get that animal back to you. Because, you know, a lot of times your pets are like kids or family members, so you want to get them back. And we've only euthanized 6 dogs since October. So, and cats, we've adopted out 89 cats, sent 54 to rescue. We've had 1 cat return to its owner. And are you all familiar with feral cats?
yeah.
Feral cats are the wild ones that have never been socialized, and you can't just reach up and pet them or they'll eat your hand off. We've had 13 of those this year, and a lot of those are taken by people that want a barn cat to keep the mice out of the barn. You know, they're not really a pet, but they're good for keeping critters out of your barn or your hay. And we personally haven't euthanized any cats this year. We did have a hoarding issue last week, and we had to intake 13 cats from one household. But we transferred those to a veterinarian. All the cats were sick or injured or had some other kind of medical complication, and the veterinarian had to euthanize those cats just because they were in such bad shape. But anyway, if y'all are in the market for a dog or a cat, come visit us at the shelter. And if we're not at the shelter, you can try Petco's, Tractor Supplies, Walgreens, Chevrons, sometimes down here at the Valvoline Express even. So look for us if you're in the market, or kids, grandkids, somebody wants a puppy or a kitten, and we always have them. So if y'all don't have any questions. Any questions? No questions? Good.
Guys, you have a list of different kinds of dogs that you have?
What's that?
Do you have a list of different kinds of dogs?
Yeah, we actually operate a Facebook page, and on that page, when an animal comes into the shelter, we have a photo album on Facebook that is for new arrival animals. And after they've been there for their 3-day stray hold, we move them over into the adoption folder for dogs for adoption and cats for adoption. So you can look online and see. We're also on Pet Finder, Adopt a Pet, several other of those. And also on the city website, if you go to departments, animal services, animals for adoption, there's a list of our active adoptable animals on there also. Okay?
All we could have over on Mathis is one animal. I'd have a dozen of them if that wasn't the case.
Well, we'll try and keep them rounded up.
Yeah. I can't have just that one on that place over there.
All right.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Just want to talk to you a little bit about what we do as far as in the police department. Dispatch, we have a total of 5 full-time public safety techs who work dispatch and 2 part-time. The 2 part-time personnel is actually, one of them is a full-time firefighter for Grand Prairie and a full-time dispatcher at Hutchins Police Department. So we have certain training requirements that we have to meet through our state and through federal and through our local agency because of the best practices. So we have to maintain a certain level of standard, and that's what we do. We're very proud of our employees and what we do here. We do have 3 support service techs. 2 of them are full-time, 1 of them is part-time, and they handle as far as administration and records, and we answer the phones for the animal shelter. That's why if you call the phone number that we have, 6838, and you call that, you'll get us in records, okay? And we're the ones that try to help screen the calls because they're not always in the shelter. They're usually out taking calls. And we try to give the best performance that we can for y'all. We were also, our #1 system is Hamilton COG, which is North Central Texas Council of Government. It's a region that has 44 agencies. And last year for 2012, we were nominated and received the Agency of the Year out of 44 agencies. That includes Kaufman County, we beat them, thank you very much. Not proud of that, but we do work hard. As far as dispatch, we do have a TDD device, which is telecommunication device for the deaf. If you have that equipment, we can receive your calls. We have language line. If anybody speaks a different language, they can call 911 and we can get a translator. We also have, I'm trying to remember everything we have here. Databases that we do inquiries on to make the officers use tools for the officers to help them do their jobs. Anything that they request of us, we go through these databases, try to find out the information for them. It makes it easier for y'all too to get the information that we can and as fast as we can. Also, when you call 911, it's for something that is happening right now. We've been recently getting calls that a neighbor sees someone breaking into someone's house, and that neighbor calls that resident who is at work. We don't want y'all to do that. If you see something that is happening, you need to call 911. That way we can get the first-hand information. We need to get descriptions and things like that. The faster we get this information, the faster we can get the officers going. And same with fire calls. Okay, that's really important for us. And we're going to ask you a lot of questions through dispatch. That's for your safety and the officers that are responding. It's everyone's safety. That's our priority. Okay. We also monitor. Everybody thinks that dispatch, all they do is answer the phones and dispatch calls. Well, they do that. However, there's a lot more to it. They also have to monitor the jail. They have to visually and audio monitor the jail. Because we do have subjects that come in and out of our jail, unfortunately. But that's part of our jobs. Also, we have to monitor the officers on the radios and the firefighters. We have to dispatch the calls. When they do an arrest, there's paperwork that consists of that. We have to follow through. There's a lot more to dispatch than people realize. And it's right now we have 1 person in there at a time, so they're very busy. So sometimes when you call in a non-emergency line and they have to put you on hold, the only reason they do that is because it's a higher priority call that they're having to take care of. Okay, so just wanted to let you know the structure and how we do things there. If you have any problems or any questions or anything, please feel free to call. I do have my business cards here if you ever need anything. Records, what we do there also, is, again, open records request. When you come into the lobby in that big window, that's the records section right there. And we usually help on solicitors, open records, accident reports. We do have a new online accident request. If you had an accident in the city of Seagoville, it does take a few days for it to get processed through because the officer has to work the accident. And then it gets to our records section, and then we get it posted online. And it's policereports.com. You can look on our website, and you can get any forms you need, or you can go to that and refer to the link, and you can get your report online that way also. A lot of technology is advancing within the city of Seagoville. You know, technology never stops, right? It's always moving forward. We're able to have 911, TDD. Here in the near future, we're going to be one of the agencies that are going to be receiving texting to 911. Okay? A lot of y'all thinking, texting, what is that going to do, right? This helps the hearing impaired tremendously because all they have to do is go to the texting. It's a lot easier for them to use the phone than if they don't have a device to use at their home. We don't have it yet. Right now, Decatur has it, and Collin County has just recently come on board. I don't know if you've heard it in the news, but they've just recently come on board. And if you're thinking we're going to get overwhelmed, it's really not that many calls. The first call that Collin County received was a wrong number. They were asking about their Cheetos. They wanted hot Cheetos. So, they say, they let them know and stuff, but we haven't really been overwhelmed with texting calls, but it is coming. And then eventually, it'll be videos and photographs. So technology is advancing, and we're keeping up with that. Also, the city of Seagoville is represented within the state. Earlier this year, I had an opportunity to go to Austin to represent our city. And telecommunicators, Texas is the first official state to recognize and receive licensing for telecommunicators. The bill passes, well, it's passed, but it goes into effect September of this year. If y'all wonder what's that, it's standards that are kept, just like police officers. So we're held at a high standard, same as the police and jailers in the state of Texas. You have any questions?
Nick?
Thank you, everybody. Oh, there it is. No, now this. I got a note here. I'm supposed to pass this on to everybody that if you didn't get a, right there at the end of where Chris is, one of them, the City of Seagoville bracelet or the hand sanitizer or a pen, they're all free, so help yourself. I understand that 9:30 is karaoke, so I guess we're fixing to get on that. If you have any questions, we'll be around for a little bit. Feel free to ask us, and we'll answer those for you. Just to let you know, the next city staff meeting will be on Tuesday, September 10th at City Hall. Thank you.
Always clean.